So I was sick for like 4 days. Still not really over it. It was a pretty bad sinus infection. Not sure if I've ever had one of those before, but put me out of the week. Been tough. Nevertheless, what I've learned is I come up with my most creative and crazy ideas when I have fever. I'm just sitting there late at night alone with my crazy thoughts and fever dreams. And I'm literally thinking of like merch designs, my future, and then this story time. Somehow I remembered my 3 concussion stories over the course of my life, which is ironic because, again, I'm remembering that I have concussion stories. The first of which isn't even my concussion, but it's hilarious. So my buddy Ben and I went out skiing at Park City, Utah. This was his first time. He just wanted to try it out. First time out on the slopes. He's a model, which has relevance for later on in the story. And we're both pretty like competitive, try hard type of people in the sense that whatever we do, it's like you want to be the best at it. You want to just like go hard. You want to like try everything. And if it's cool or, you know, it's like everything has to be extreme almost. Okay. And so we're very like-minded in that. And that's a dangerous place to be alone, let alone with somebody else, because then you can kind of play off of each other's energy. And then like when one of you has a stupid idea, the other's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, you know? And so stupidity feeds stupidity. And that's where we found ourselves on the slopes in Park City, Utah. So we were on a chairlift on like the 3rd day. So we'd been warmed up. We'd been skiing, going crazy. We felt good. We felt experienced. I mean, I am experienced, you know, I've skied several times, but this was his first time. He was feeling good. And so we're on the chairlift, and I swear they place the big jumps underneath the ski lifts for twofold. First of all, I think they genuinely want you to, like, as you keep going up the hill, the mountain, and you have to look down at all these people doing these jumps, eventually you're going to cave and be like, you know what? I can do that. Second of all, or second reason, or B, whatever I chose. I don't know Secondly, I think it's there to provide entertainment for the people on the chairlift. Okay. Because the chairlift is a very boring thing. Sometimes it freaks people out. But if you have a show to watch the good people succeed and the bad people suck and die, you know, that's going to make your joy up the mountain a whole lot more pleasant. I'm dying. So Ben and I are on this chairlift. We've been going over the same jump, like witnessing the same jump throughout the, you know, the last couple of days. And finally, it just occurs to me, hey, dude, maybe we could take our 2-inch jumps that we're currently doing to the next level. Maybe we could take our 2-inch jumps to the 20-foot jump. And I think that is the next logical step in our extreme career of skiing. And of course, Ben says, absolutely. No hesitation. Just like, yeah, I'm ready. We get to the top. We dismount the ski thing, and we ski on down to the top lip of like where you drop in, and then, you know, you hit the jump. Again, we had been doing like boxes and rails where the air that we're getting is like 2 inches, but it feels like, oh my gosh, I'm like flying. Because when you're skiing and you're going somewhat fast, it's all based on perspective. You feel like you're going so fast, and then you watch a video of yourself and you're barely moving. And then you get your buddy to video me, dude, I'm gonna do this jump, and then you get 2 inches off the ground, and it feels like 3 feet, you know, it feels like, wow, I actually got some height there. And then you watch the video and you're like, did my skis leave the snow? And yet now we're staring down the barrel of this jump that literally it goes up, and it's like 15 feet off. And then it's about 20 feet of clearance. So it's like 15 feet up, and then, you know, 15. Okay, hold on. Math. 15 feet, 20 feet. Okay. Pythagorean theorem, distance, big jump. Okay. 15 up, 20 across. Gotta land it. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. Ben and I ski up to the top lip where everyone is just watching the other skiers, you know, dive in, jump, and succeed and all that. But when we get there, no one's going. Like literally not a soul. So we pull up, and I'm expecting to like wait in this line like it's an amusement park or something. Be like, yo, dude, like I have to wait here for 45 minutes. No, they were like, Disney Fast Pass. If you want to go, you can go right now, because we're all too scared. Because no one was saying anything. Everyone's just standing there, and I'm like, is anyone going? And everyone's like, no. And so I was like, all right, Ben, let's go. I had never done one of these before. I have been skiing for multiple years, and I've never done a jump like this before, but I really thought, you know what? This is it. This is my moment. I'm here with my boy Ben. We're both feeling good and confident. And so we shoot down that hill, and it was quite a hill. You know, it's quite the buildup. So Ben and I start shooting down, and it was a long run. I mean, even for a jump of, you know, 15, 20 feet or whatever, like it was a long trajectory. And I'm picking up speed, and I'm not braking or anything. I'm tucking into that baby. And like, again, never done this before. So I'm tucking in. And then as I'm like starting to like go up the slope, you know, going up onto the jump, my speed just gets sucked out from under me. I mean, it's crazy how much speed you actually needed in order to be able to clear about 20 feet of flat. Wow, man. I got about halfway up and I realized, oh, we don't have enough speed. You know, that's of course when I shoot off and then skis go from tucked to suddenly start spreading apart. And you're like, oh my gosh. I probably did a giant X in the middle of the air. Everyone on the chairlift probably sees me hit the giant X. And I mean, it was at that moment I was just like, oh no. And the nice thing though is that I cleared the flat part. I did, and I hit the downhill, but I just didn't expect the impact, right? Because you go from air to suddenly gravity has a great way of humbling you. And man, I hit that decline and skis went poof, and spread out. I've never done the splits in my life, but I'm pretty sure if my body hit a screenshot at that moment, they would have been fully flat out. I would have done my first splits in my entire life because my skis went yeet and my poles went yo, and then my head went down and I just went boom and I flipped and yard sale. I mean, everything. I mean, gloves, hat, helmet, everything just poof, blows up. Mini little nuke. And I feel like the explosion could be compared to like one of those Call of Duty campaigns where an explosion goes off right next to you, but because you're the main character, you survive. But then your character's like closed his eyes and he's opening them slightly. And then there's a guy that's like, get up, it's time to go, gotta keep moving. Even though I'm pretty sure you're missing half your face. That's what happened, except there was no one to tell me to like get up and keep moving, because that person should have been Ben. But when I got up and kind of like got my whereabouts of like, oh my gosh, I died, but like I'm here. I looked back up at the hill and all I see is Ben's lifeless, unconscious body just shoveling snow all the way down the decline. It was hilarious. Just imagine the car window thing. You put your face up against it and then it goes. That was what he was doing to the snow as his body's just like going down the hill. And so I had to run over to him in my ski boots. And that's just like a very painful thing to do, like running in ski boots. I don't understand why those things are so freaking heavy. But anyway, I get over to Ben and I'm just like, yo, dude, are you okay? And he was unresponsive. And so I picked his head up and he's bleeding from the nose. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, Ben, just trying to get, and he was out. I mean, he was out cold. What had happened was he also did not have enough speed, but instead of hitting the decline, his skis hit the flat part. You know how it goes jump, flat part, and then the decline? He hit the flat part. So he hit, and then his head went, just like straight down, knocked him out, shoveling snow, ragdoll. Yeah. So anyway, he had a concussion and he had cut his face. That's where the blood was. Thankfully, he was okay. But his agent pissed. So like, what do you mean he cut his face? Being a model and all is apparently that's like your prized asset. We survived and it was quite the thing to tell his mom. But funny enough, he actually got back at me in my second concussion story. So in high school, leading up, middle school and high school, all of our friends played ultimate frisbee. And somehow ultimate frisbee was like the most dangerous sport to me. It's resulted in my worst injuries. Because again, it's like we're competitive. We go extreme. It's like I'm not out there to just play. I'm out there to just destroy the competition. It's like I want to lay out for every disc that I can. I want to do the most, okay? So an ultimate frisbee, right? It's like football, in case you guys don't know. So you're trying to throw the frisbee to a teammate to receive, to catch, and then if they're in the end zone, when they catch it, boom, touchdown, okay? And so coincidentally enough, it was Ben and I in this situation where Ben was on the opposite team. My boy Ben is winding up for an absolute huck of a pass down the field, and I was coming up behind him. All right, so it's kind of like the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs police officer thing, right? Like Flint's doing his thing, he's winding up, getting ready, and then I'm tailing him. I'm getting there. And so my goal was, as he was going to like release the frisbee, I was going to stick my arm out and block the frisbee from behind him because he wasn't gonna know I was coming, and so I was gonna come around there and block that disc. And to a certain extent that happened, but I did it with my face. Ben, backing up, Ben winds up, throws the disc, hurls, like when you throw, here we go. When you throw the disc, you do this, okay? One giant sweeping motion with your hand, okay? Your hand goes out, your hand flies out, right? Well, that's where my face is here, his hand goes bam as I'm trying to get around and block. His follow through hit me with such force up into my nose that I don't know if you guys have ever like sat on a remote in a movie, like on your couch, and you go from one scene to the next and you're like, what just happened? But that's what happened to me. I went from like, I'm gonna get the disc, to suddenly I was sitting down on a picnic blanket with people surrounding me. Weirdest thing. I went from playing frisbee, like I'm running, and then boom, I'm on the sideline on a picnic blanket with a mom next to me, and I had no idea how I got there. Once I realized that, I was like, this is not what just like the scene just changed IRL. How? And I looked at her, I'm like, where am I? And she said, you're at this so-and-so park. You got hit in the face. We think you have a concussion. You haven't been making any sense. We called your parents. I was like, you called my parents? Because we lived like 35 minutes away. And when she said we called your parents, my dad was literally walking up, and I'm like, I've been out for 35 minutes? I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, I can't. And I was looking around at everything, and the place, I couldn't tell you how I got there. I was like, did I drive? They're like, yeah, you drove. I'm like, I don't remember that. They're like, okay. And I'm like, what happened? They're like, Ben hit you in the face. And I was like, oh, okay, I don't remember that. So weird. That was the first time that I was like aware that something was wrong. And it was like I was searching through the files of my brain and nothing was coming up. But it's like I knew they were there. They were just lost, you know? That was so weird. I'm telling you, if you guys have never experienced it, it is a weird phenomenon of knowing that you're forgetting something and not being able to remember it, even though you know it's like, it should be common knowledge. That's crazy. It's like super messed up. Third story, I'm in college. Another sport. It's just always sports, man. I mean, I don't know what else it would be. Concussions typically only happen in those. But anyway, we were playing flag football junior year of college, and I was typically our team's quarterback because that's where I felt like I always excelled. But you know, we had plenty of good arms on the team and stuff, so we shared the wealth. For this one particular game, the first drive that we had, I was a slot receiver. I don't even know why. I actually don't even know why, because this was like the first game that I played receiver instead of quarterback, and of course I get freaking hurt. So anyway, my buddy Matt, quarterback in our team, tells me and this other guy to run crossing routes, okay? And unfortunately, we end up running the crossing routes at the exact same depth, which is problematic, especially when you throw the ball in the middle of us. So picture this. My buddy Garrett is on the left side of the field. I'm on the right side of the field. We both run a 7-10 yard up and in, okay? And we run this at the exact same depth, and both of our eyes are fixed on the quarterback. So you can only imagine that as we are like nearing each other, like two trains on the same track, but we both have our eyes facing the quarterback, we don't see each other. My buddy Matt puts this ball directly over the middle of both of us. I mean, just center mass and high. So not only can neither one of us get it, but we both do one of these, and then boom, eyes suddenly lock as we are like a foot away from each other. And Garrett had like 25 pounds on me and probably like 4 to 5 inches. Bigger dude, just a bigger dude. I lost, okay? So we both look at this ball, boom, eye contact. My face nailed his jaw, and I mean, it's like I stopped. You know, he stood strong, and I fell and just died right there, okay? Now, here's the funny thing is that I remember this. I remember getting hit, and I remember falling down and being like, oh my gosh. Getting up and being like very disoriented and just like, okay, like that freaking hurt. I also remember the pain I felt and like there's a very distinct sharp pain that you'll feel in your brain that I remembered from the frisbee incident. And so immediately I genuinely thought, oh no, this might be another one of the concussion stuff because the pain is the exact same. I'm pretty sure concussion is when your brain like hits the outer wall of your head, something like that. It's, you know, something gets mushed. If you guys are experts on that, let me know. So I immediately am aware, like this is about to be a problem. And then I forget. It was like, I went from like, oh no, this is about to, and then suddenly I'm sitting on the bench and I'm like, how did we get here? You know, as if it was like part 2 to frisbee again, being like, why am I here? And there's a guy sitting next to me. He's like, hey, you hit your head. You started not being able to recognize like where you were, what happened. You just threw a touchdown. Okay, so you did well, but you had no idea that you were still playing football. I was like, great. That sounds great. Apparently, what had happened was after I got hit, I went to the bleachers and I got water and stuff, and I like took some time off to reflect about my pain. And then we switched out. I ended up going back into quarterback. Don't remember. And we ran a full drive. We ran a full drive because this team was like blitzing heavy, and so our quarterback couldn't get the ball out in time and stuff. And so put me in, and somehow we scored. I threw a touchdown to my boy Evan, and I went out as we're like going to complete our extra point. We complete the extra point. In flag football, you can go for 1 or 2, and it's like, it's not a kick. It's like still like a passing play or whatever. Apparently after that, I just stood out there, just aimlessly, just like looking. Evan comes up to me. He's like, hey, are you good? And I was like, yeah, what happened? He's like, we just scored. I was like, oh, okay. And I just stood there. I literally was just unresponsive. He's like, okay, we need to get you off the field. I was like, why? He's like, because we're done. Like we scored. So now we switch sides. And I was like, oh, I'm just out of it, man. Like I just forgotten. Like this was the first time he's ever explaining football to me. It's crazy. So anyway, they get me off the field and they call in the medical dude with the stretcher and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm fine. And that's like that's the craziest thing, is that it's so hard to explain to someone like, hey dude, I'm fine, when you're there, because you don't know what you were saying when you weren't there. You could have been saying, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, but now you're not even remembering that. You know what I mean? And so it's hard. So it's almost like you're trying to convince them, hey dude, like I'm here, I'm present moment, like I'm here, I am conscious, I'm okay. And I was begging to let me go back out. I was just like, please let me go back out there. And they wouldn't, okay? Because they were good friends. And I understand. Those are my concussion stories. I don't recommend it. It's a crazy thing when you lose your memory, like genuinely crazy thing. I really wish I had gotten to see the absolute dime I had thrown for that TD, but I missed it. SSD's corrupted. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story time. I apologize for being sick. I'll probably be doing a workout routine for next week's video. So let me know if you guys want that to be chest and back, arms and shoulders, or legs, because that's my split and I can dedicate the whole video to it. Anyway, what's my outro? Do I even have an outro? I love y'all. I'll see y'all in the next one.